On the Throttle is brought to you by Sport Bike Wrench. Performance parts, professional advice.
Here at Road America, compared to Sears, obviously you're using a 6-speed, but at Sears, what part of the gearbox did you use there?
We had to run first in the back chicane. And then really we just ran the top 4 gears and geared quite a bit differently than here. Here we're obviously using all 6 and a lot of top speed, like a really long straightaway, and don't go to first gear anywhere on this track, at least on our bike. So substantially taller gearing here.
We're talking to Corona, and they said a difference of 5 teeth is actually not enough. You need more with their bikes. Obviously, with the 600, you don't have the trap speeds they're running of 175 to 180 miles an hour, but still the gearing, especially for a 600, is critical.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're probably not 5 teeth different, but we're pretty proud of our bike. It was second in the trap speeds both days, and I think a lot of that's because Phil Allison builds a good motor, and then a lot of it is Robertino is really good at his shift points and really good at picking his gearing. Like, he goes well at the fast tracks like Daytona, and here he shifts. Like, we've got Dad on the bike, and he's within 30 RPM, his shift points everywhere. Like, really exceptionally good at it. So it kind of makes it nice for us and gives us good top speed.
Now, we chatted a little bit about gearing and how even when you think you might have the right setup, as the rider improves or conditions change, you might have to change the gearing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like, typically everybody kind of sees that in the rain when they slow down a lot. But, you know, here for us, as we picked up speed, we kept going taller and taller and taller with the gearing. Like, the better your mid-corner speed is and the better drives you're getting, like, you start running out of gearing earlier on the straightaways, you know. So for sure, as our lap times got faster, our gearing got taller.
So just to make that clear for some of the people watching, if you were running a 1545, then you go to a 1544 or a 43.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we probably, like, 2 seconds at this track was probably almost 2 teeth different on the gearing. Like, pretty big difference. We were running 24s, and to get down into 22s was actually almost 2 full teeth. Like, we wound up changing the front and rear sprocket, so it's probably not quite 2 full teeth, but substantial. I mean, like, I don't think we could have got to the lap times if we'd have stuck with our original gearing, you know?
Now, how did that affect your wheelbase when you made those gearing changes?
For us, we try and keep, once the rear grip is good and once we're getting kind of the corner exit feeling that he needs, you know, like the grip from the tire, we try and not vary the wheelbase too much. So a lot of times, even if we change the gearing substantially, we'll put a different chain or cut the chain and try and get back as close as we can, you know? Like, if your bike setup's not working in the back, you can try changing the wheelbase longer or shorter to try and get, you know, more grip or different swing arm angle or whatever. But for us, that was working pretty well. So when we made a big gearing change, we cut the chain to get the wheelbase back where it was.
Now, typically, what range of sprockets will you bring with you for the front and the rear so that you have many different gearing options?
Yeah, for us, we've got 14, 15, 16, 17 in the front, and then from 40 to 47 in the rear, or maybe 41 to 47 in the rear. So kind of we bring a lot of sprockets because half a tooth, you know, changing the ratios, you can find a half point rather than going a full tooth if you change both sprockets. So yeah.
People don't realize, I think, how important it is, even like you say, changing that gear ratio. Just that one little bit can give you that best compromise that you can get for the rider, the top speed, the draft, to make all the elements of the track much easier for the bike to ride and perform for the rider.
For sure. I mean, that's another thing, like leaving room to have a draft, especially at the start of the race, or if you're in a pack of guys, you got to have some overrun. And then with the 600, it's huge, critical, like really, really critical to make sure that your gearing's right, because if you're low RPM on the corner exit, you're just going to get wasted by everybody else, you know, especially some of the twins out there. Like, you got to have good drives to keep up with those guys. So gearing's really important on the 600. For sure on the 1000 too, but way more critical on the 600.
I think it's fair to say every track has its idiosyncrasies for gearing as well, and you will always end up with somewhat of a unique setting for each track based on the top speed and the drive off the corner.
Yeah, for sure. I know, like, certain tracks, you know, you want to run a certain gearing that won't allow you the top speed, and you wind up gearing the thing really, really tall and running fifth instead of running sixth or whatever, like, just to get your corner exit RPM in the gear you want at the RPM you want. So I'd say it's a huge part of the bike setup and different everywhere you go. Like, there's no way you're going to have the same 3 sprockets and make it through the whole national season, you know. Like you've got to bring a lot of stuff to get to the top level where these guys are running, you know.
And I think that's really the one main point that we want to have people understand. Just putting a couple sprockets on is not going to get you in the end a net result. You really have to figure out what you're doing with speed, your rider's ability and preference, and be prepared with a lot of gearing and chains to make sure you can get the best out of everything.
Yeah, I think most people would be surprised how much lap time improvement they could make without doing anything else other than the gearing and the wheelbase. Like, you can make a huge difference how the bike responds and reacts, and definitely pick up a lot of time without doing so much work, really. I mean, like, anybody can change their own gearing for the most part out of the track. A lot of people don't.
Well, we appreciate your time. Good luck with everything this weekend. Thanks very much.
Cool. Thank you, guys.